Hotshots, Jess with Emotional Fire Academy here today to talk to you about how to fix the feeling I don't belong here or because I'm an HSP. This is mostly directed for HSPs, but will help anyone that kind of holds this feeling of I just don't belong, I don't fit in, there's something wrong with me. We're going to bust this belief today. Yeah. All right. So subscribe to my channel. If you are a highly sensitive person, I help highly sensitive people evolve to the next level. That's what my channel is about. And who am I? I am Jess, and I put out weekly videos. I'm your driver operator on this journey. I'm a former firefighter and a master NLP practitioner. So, an NLP is all about our thoughts and our feelings and how they affect our reality, and then how to clean them up, deal with them, think better thoughts, have better experience. So today we're going to be playing with this thought of I don't belong. Now, I think this is a chronic thought that's kind of something that HSPs really struggle with. I used to really struggle with this just because the experience I was having in life overall made me think this thought. It provided evidence over and over and over again that made me feel I just don't belong, I just don't fit in. That was the conclusion that I drew from the evidence that I was seeing. But we're going to get more and more into this and how to fix this belief, how to fix the thought. And especially if it's a feeling level, if you just feel, because a feeling is a thought that your body has. So essentially we have our mind is thinking thoughts, and then we have our body, and our body is essentially feeling. That's the physical version of the mental awareness, right? Is the feeling of something. It's like, if you're feeling like I don't belong, it's kind of a body sensation. And it really kind of starts in our mind. And then it embeds in our body, and then it becomes our conditioning, and thus our reality. So that's kind of how the whole little triangle works. If you've seen my emotional fire triangle, you will know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to offer you some alternative perspectives. So when we realize we have a belief that maybe isn't serving us, like I don't belong, I don't fit in, what we start to do is look for evidence of the contrary. If we want to start changing that belief, shifting that belief, we start thinking to ourselves, I do belong here. I am meant to be here. I am worthy of being here. And then we add evidence to support that. And that's how then it cements into a belief. And what we experience in life is based directly upon what we believe and assume about ourselves and who we are and how we show up in the world. And then the actions we take from that place. So I'm going to give you some evidence today of the contrary belief, that you do belong, that you are worthy, that you are meant to be here, and you're special and amazing and awesome, maybe even miraculous, maybe even odd-defying. So stick with me. Let's go through these alternate perspectives and start to question your loyalty to this thought. This is just a thought. It doesn't have to be a reality. Only if you choose to collect evidence that it is true. I'm going to give you some evidence of the contrary. So here are all of the different perspectives we're going to go into. And take a curious approach. Be like, you know what? I'm willing to entertain. I'm willing to be curious. I'm willing to go deeper and see if there's any truth for me, if it resonates, or if there's truth for me. So let's look on the cellular level. Let's start with cellular. So you are a collection of 37.2 trillion cells. Trillion. So now remember that there's 7.6 billion people on Earth. So essentially, on a cellular level, your body is made up of these 37.2 trillion cells. So your conscious awareness is the leader of 37.2 trillion organisms that you are then directing and acting upon in the world. So really, you're the leader of a very large planet, essentially one that would be 4,210 times the size of Earth. That's a huge planet, and you are the conscious director, the leader of that. So, yeah. it kind of busts the whole thought like, I don't belong. You're actually guiding those 37.2 trillion organisms and telling them what to do and deciding what to do with them. All right, so there's alternative perspective. Let's go to the atomic level. Atomically, and you might say, yeah, but this is just different scale. Well, this is the facts. These are the actual scientific facts of who and what you are. So stick with me here. Atomically, you are 7 billion atoms. That's 3 billions after that. 7 billion atoms comprise you, what you consider you, your body. 2/3 of that hydrogen, 1/4 is oxygen, and 1/10 is carbon. Those are the same elements that are in the universe. The entire universe is made out of hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. So what makes your 7 billion atoms any different than the other billions and trillions and quadrillions and gazillions of atoms that are out there, right? You are, on that scale, you are equivalent to everything else. You are totally equivalent. I heard a phrase once, you are matter, therefore you matter. And that's really powerful when you think about that, when you get into that feeling. Bring that into your body as a feeling, like, whoa. I'm stardust just like everybody else is, just like everything I see is. It's all the same stuff. It's all the same stuff atomically. Yeah, cool, huh? Statistical. So I'm going to link in the description box a neat little infographic from Business Insider. So apparently Dr. Ali Benazir, I apologize if I mispronounced that, calculated the actual odds of the statistical chance of each one of us coming into the world. So, and I don't know if it's a he or she, I apologize. Dr. Benazir calculated that the odds of you statistically existing in your present state, at present time, is 1 in 10 to the 2,685,000th power. So that is pretty close to zero. That's like infinitesimally small. And I want to quote from the article. Go ahead and check it out I'll put a link below. But the good doctor says, because of your existence here and now and on planet Earth, it presupposes another supremely unlikely and utterly undeniable chain of events. Namely, that every one of your ancestors lived to reproductive age, going all the way back, not just to the first Homo sapiens, the first Homo erectus and Homo habilis, but all the way back to the first single-celled organism. You are a representative of an unbroken lineage of life going back 4 billion years. Billion. And even if you extend that to beyond that single organism, the chemical soup, the chemical constituents of that, you are this unbroken lineage of life. That's pretty freaking amazing. And the infographic, please check it out. It's so cool. It ends with, a miracle is an event so unlikely as to be almost impossible. And by that definition, we have just shown that you are a miracle, because the odds are essentially zero that you would have come into existence in exactly the state you are at exactly the time you are. So, ta-da! You totally belong. You defied the odds to be here, like physically. Your physical constituents, the odds of you exactly in the state you are, so tiny. So tiny. So that's miraculous in itself. That's amazing. And that type of, because the mathematics of that is so small that thus you have to kind of conclude that there is something really important in you being there, because the odds were so small that you would have shown up in this place, in this time, in this form. So that in itself implies significance, right? It implies significance just in the mathematics. All right, so let's go to populational. So that's kind of your physical constituents of, you do belong, you are miraculous, you are amazing, you are a leader of a large planet of organisms. Like, there's a lot of different, there's a lot of evidence for the contrary here. So populationally, Now, if you feel this way because you are a highly sensitive person, let me remind you that 20% of the population of humans on Earth are also highly sensitive. Whether they know it or not, the genetic markers for high sensitivity are present within 20% of the population. That's a really large majority. So you belong to that 20%. So again, that's 1 in 5 people, that is pretty similar to you, or at least more similar than dissimilar. And as we kind of go more into the philosophical end of this, I want you to, let's go first to emotional. I'm going to ask you some questions that kind of start to question your loyalty to this belief, I don't belong. If you really think this is truth, we're going to play around with this and get curious and be a little investigative today. What do you gain by having this thought? Ask yourself that. What do I gain by feeling like I don't belong? What is the emotional payoff for you? And you should be having some thoughts and feelings come up of like, wow, I feel like crap. I feel like a victim. I feel isolated. It gives me a reason to isolate. It gives me a reason to lock myself away from the world. And is it worth it for you to believe this and to have that reflected back to you in your experience of life? Is it worth it? Is it worth it to not question your loyalty to it? Is it worth it? And what would you rather feel? What would you rather feel instead of I don't belong? I decided that I wanted to feel I do belong. I am so worthy of being in the world. There's a place for me everywhere. Everything I touch turns to gold. These are some of the thoughts I started to replace I don't belong with. And that became my reality. So what is the emotional payoff that would be bigger for you than I don't belong? Feeling crappy, feeling isolated, feeling different, feeling like a weirdo. What emotional payoff could you be having if you entertained a different thought? Because it is just a thought, right? And then the thought it embeds in the system as a feeling, and then it becomes our conditioning and our reality. So let's go to, all right, our contextual, I'll go to in a moment, but the conditioning, maybe this wasn't even your thought. If you close your eyes and you think to yourself, I don't believe, you bring up the thought, the felt experience of I don't belong here. I don't fit in. I'm different. If you ask yourself, where did this come from? Where did this come from? And you really sit in that, you probably are going to start to get images. You're going to get images most likely from childhood. So this might have been either you as a child assessing a situation and coming to the conclusion, I don't belong. Or maybe it was other children that told you that, or a parent that told you that, or a teacher, or somebody else. But it wasn't your thought now. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it was either made from a child's perspective, which might not have been correct. We did the best we could as kids, but we were learning, we were growing, we were interpreting the world through child eyes. Or it might have come from somewhere that was outside of ourselves, and we were just like, okay, this is the truth, and we kind of just took it in and accepted it. And now, in the present moment, is when we have the opportunity to, instead of just letting that thought run on autopilot and believing it as truth, we can start questioning it and saying, that wasn't exactly the right interpretation. I'm going to make a different meaning out of what I'm seeing in my life and instead give my loyalty over to, I do belong here. I am important. I am special. I am awesome. I'm amazing. So yeah, that's, looking at that as maybe that's not even our thought and we're just letting it run on autopilot. And having that awareness then can change it, can shift it. And then contextually, So let's play with the contextual and the ecological side of this thought. Contextually, so we're going to change the context of it. You're holding this thought, I don't belong. I don't belong. Therefore, I'm exotic. I'm different. I'm unique. I am rare, right? Something that's rare is desirable. I am different and unique. I'm this exotic thing. I don't belong here. I don't belong. I'm unique and different and wonderful. Do you see how that shifted? Like adding that contextual difference of like that perspective can actually serve you if you're bringing the right energy and attitude to it. It's like, oh, I am rare and unique and different and thus desirable, because things that are really rare are often sought after and preferred, and everyone wants the thing that there's only one or two of and they can't have, you know? And then the ecological, when you look at the variety of species on the planet, there's so much diversity. There's so much diversity. And even if you feel like, I think sometimes with HSPs, there's this like feeling of being an alien. I know I have felt that, like kind of literally and figuratively, where you're just like, whoa, I just do not fit in here. When you look at the diversity of the planet, have you ever looked at like a critter that you've gotten up close to and you're like, holy crap, that thing is so strange? Like a leaf bug. Or an eye. Do you know what an eye is? It's those like weird primates that live in Madagascar, and they have black fuzzy fur and yellow eyes, and they have this one long finger, and they look for bugs and they skewer the bug. Anyway, these strange creatures, these unusual creatures that live on Earth and belong here. They belong here. Why wouldn't you belong here? You know, like, and they're so specialized, and they're so niche, and they're so different, and they're so interesting, but they fit. There's a place for them. Even from like these tiny little bacteria to like these huge animals to, there's a place for all of it. So why wouldn't you ecologically fit into that? Like it doesn't matter how different and unique you are, there's a niche for you somewhere. And in you starting to believe, I do belong, there is a place for me, and standing in that and believing it yourself. That's how you intentionally create your place in the world. That's how you create that space on a thought level, on a feeling level. There's a place for me, and I'm making my place for me. So, what do you think? I hope this was helpful to you, that one of these pieces of evidence you were able to grab onto and be like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So comment below, let me know if it helped. Let me know which of the alternative perspectives was helpful for you and really resonated with you. Drop a comment below. And if you are someone who does not feel like you belong as a highly sensitive person, let me help you. Let me guide you into a place of feeling better and actually knowing and believing and creating your reality to support you and your emotional health. I do that on my website at emotionalfireacademy.com. I have a 3-month flammable to fireproof program that will do just that for you. You will feel totally in the world, a part of it, like there's a place for you and a niche for you, and that you are going to rock that little niche. So thanks for listening and watching. I will see everyone later.